In a dimly lit hospital corridor, Landon waited, his posture heavy with exhaustion and worry. A painful memory surfaced, an image of Linzai, injured and vulnerable. Landon's hand clenched into a fist, trembling with suppressed rage, and he silently vowed to make whoever hurt her pay 100-fold. The sound of a door opening shattered his thoughts as a nurse stepped into the hall. Landon immediately got up and rushed toward her, asking about Linzai's condition. The nurse informed him that Linzai's injuries were superficial and that she just needed to stay for observation. She then asked Landon if he was a family member, as hospitalization paperwork needed to be processed. Landon hesitated, taken aback by the question. He lowered his head, quietly admitting that he was just her classmate. In a sterile hallway, Landon watched two men depart. He steeled himself, thinking, "I am family." Suddenly, Landon was confronted by an older man whom he addressed with a shocked expression as Uncle Lin. Uncle Lin raised a hand, his face a mask of regret as he began to apologize. The scene shifted to a hospital room where Landon stood by silently. In the bed lay Linzai, her arm wrapped in bandages. She held her father's hand, the same Uncle Lin from the hallway, and insisted she was fine. Linzai explained her injuries were just superficial and that she fell by accident while defending someone named Landon. Her father, Uncle Lin, sighed with worry for his daughter. After apologizing, Linzai's curiosity took over. She asked about the armed men who saved her from some punks, wondering if they were from his unit. Uncle Lin looked down grimly, revealing they were from the family. Confused, Linzai questioned what that meant. Landon stepped in, telling her not to worry and that he was handling the complicated situation. Internally, however, Landon realized the rumors were true. The Lin family was incredibly powerful. Linzai's father told her to get some rest, promising to see her again tomorrow. Outside the room, Landon apologized to Uncle Lin for failing to protect Linzai. Before he could finish, Uncle Lin cut him off, stating that his apologies were meaningless. Landon desperately insisted that it was his fault she got hurt. Uncle Lin put his hand on Landon's shoulder, a grim smile on his face. He told Landon that if he truly wanted to apologize, he must go break the legs of those who hurt his daughter. A flash of resolve appeared in Landon's eyes as he looked up. He agreed, promising he wouldn't let them get away with it. As Uncle Lin walked away, he warned Landon to keep his word. Landon pleaded for Uncle Lin to believe him. Uncle Lin said he could believe Landon countless times, but he only had one daughter and she could not survive countless dangers. He told Landon to go home before his own parents started to worry. Left alone, the weight of Uncle Lin's words settled heavily on Landon. A subordinate reported to young Master Chen, confirming they had delivered a warning as instructed. He hesitantly added that the young miss of the Lin family had suffered minor injuries during the confrontation. Through an intercom, Chen Yu scoffed, calling her lucky and viewing the incident as a good way to test her father's reaction. Meanwhile, Landon lay in bed, secretly listening to the entire conversation through his headphones. Chen Yu initially dismissed his target, Landon, as a lucky grasshopper whose time was running out. Landon then scoffed at the arrogance of the Chen family whelp. Unaware he was being monitored, Chen Yu revealed his true plan. The demolition project was just a facade to establish a network and take over all the business in Jiangcheng. He explained that the old district buildings were the key to moving their illicit goods. Hearing this, Landon sat up, his expression turning grim. He realized the situation was far more sinister than a simple demolition. Clenching his fist, Landon declared he had now found Chen Yu's death spot. Chen Yu gave his final orders: keep an eye on Landon but wait until the goods arrive to deal with everyone at once. Landon's eyes narrowed with determination. He knew time was running out and that he must prepare enough strength to stop Chen Yu before his plan came to fruition. The next day, Bai Peng reported to his boss, Landon, that the first batch of recruits had arrived. Bai Peng introduced the group of hardened men to their new, surprisingly young leader. Landon thanked Bai Peng and welcomed the men to Longdun security, declaring them all comrades in arms. But before he could continue, the powerhouse Chen Jinhu interrupted, eyeing Landon with deep skepticism. He openly questioned Landon's age, wondering if they had been hired for a trivial security guard job. The other recruits immediately joined in, their doubts about the position growing louder. As the concerns escalated, Bai Peng tried to calm the men down. Unfazed, Landon directed their attention to a large training area. He explained that before they could take their posts, they must first complete the training course before them. Bai Peng scoffed at the sight of an obstacle course, boasting about his past military achievements. He confronted Landon directly, offended by the implication that their abilities were in doubt. Landon explained the purpose of the training to his new colleagues. He stated their goal was to protect clients and themselves, all within the bounds of the law. He then announced he would demonstrate the entire training flow. In a flash, Landon expertly assembled a handgun. He turned to Bai Peng, telling him to start the timer. Bai Peng agreed and Landon braced himself. At Bai Peng's command, Landon exploded into motion, a blur of blue energy. Bai Peng began counting the seconds aloud. Landon navigated a complex obstacle course with incredible speed and agility. He ran, slid, and leaped over every barrier in his path. Bai Peng continued to time him, his expression focused while others watched in utter disbelief. The seconds ticked by, but Landon showed no signs of slowing down. Bai Peng couldn't believe what he was seeing, exclaiming that Landon was truly extraordinary. After completing the entire course, Landon raised his weapon and fired a perfect shot at a target. Bai Peng stopped the timer at an unbelievable 57 seconds. The final time, 58 seconds. A paintball slammed into the center of the target as the test concluded. Bai Peng and others stared in absolute shock. Bai Peng couldn't believe it, nodding that the routine wasn't any shorter despite the course's size. Bai Peng reminded himself that he already said Landon's explosive power was impressive. Bai Peng was still skeptical, pointing out that Landon just looked like a high school student. Landon stepped forward, confirming he was indeed just a student. He addressed the group of hardened soldiers with a confident smirk. Holding a pistol, Landon challenged them, saying they must at least be faster than him. He explained that otherwise he couldn't feel at ease sending them on missions. The men, led by a scowling Bai Peng, looked on with growing irritation. Landon questioned their professionalism if they couldn't even protect themselves, let alone a client. Furious at the perceived arrogance, Chen Jinhu erupted. He rallied the other men, vowing to show their new boss what a true soldier was made of. The men roared in agreement, fired up and ready to prove themselves. With his team assembled, Landon's gaze hardened with resolve. He thought of his target, Chen Yu. He made a solemn promise to personally crush his enemy's network and ambition. He declared to his new team that they would do it together.